Leo. How are you?
We're getting through it, yeah. Been a challenging few days, yeah. Like, listen, there's so much work goes into getting to a final, but it's like this grieving cycle that everyone goes through now. So, people have poured their heart and soul into this, as in the Champions Cup campaign. So to see it sort of come crashing down. But listen, it was pretty amazing place to be that weekend. It was just a pretty horrific feeling at the end for everyone, coming off the back of that. So the challenge is now, isn't it? Like, regardless, listen, win or lose, as we said afterwards at the weekend, was how do you turn your attention into a totally new challenge? So it is positive that we have a new challenge to move on to, and the group need to show real character in their performance this week. So, because listen, if we don't get a performance this week, we know the Lions have a huge amount of threats, and then we have another disappointing day. So it's a balance, isn't it? Like, at some time we need to be able to turn our attention to the next thing. But unfortunately, it's the magnitude of last week's game is always going to be there. But listen, as I said, we need to have the right characteristics this week in terms of how we approach the week. Leaders need to step up and lead, and it's really important that we get back to winning ways, and that's how we go about preparing for the Lions. Listen, we know we played against the Lions only in round 17, and obviously they played against Munster the following week, and you can see some of the threats that they have, some of the good young players that they have within their ranks. So it's just getting excited for this next challenge, because listen, the best way to get over that disappointment is, as I said, get back to winning ways, and that's in our control. But what's in our control is how we perform at the weekend. Before that, then it's how we go about preparing for that performance, because as I said, it's knockout rugby, and as we know, there's no second chances in these things. So it's a quarter final. Everyone's worked hard, to stay fighting on both fronts. And yeah, listen, we tried to make a few changes to the group to get some freshness into the group. Guys carrying bangs, knocks, niggles. There's lots of things that come off such a big game like that, and you need to get a bit of freshness. Other guys are going to have to keep going to well and making sure that they do everything they possibly can to deliver as best performance as they can on the day. So, because we understand, listen, what we represent and who we represent. And it's important that we showcase that this week, and hopefully for the remainder of this tournament. Hopefully that's going to be as long as we possibly can make it.
Mm-hmm. James Lowe is among those coming back in this week. 100th appearance for him. I'm sure everyone hopes he's able to get his 70th try this weekend to put him out clear of Shane Horgan also.
Everyone except Shane Horgan, probably.
Probably, yeah. Obviously, his future is still uncertain. Have you confidence that he will still be a Leinster player next season?
These conversations are always ongoing. So, and that's, listen, we're at the time of the year, at this end of the season, there will be people that move on. Listen, some of that is public knowledge, some is not. And listen, if all the people in between, it's their business. I probably said something after the game in relation to another player, which, listen, that's not really my business to have said that. So I regret saying that at the weekend. So listen, it's up to all the individual cases. Things play out behind closed doors, because it's people's, that's their livelihood. It's their, people make decisions all the time. It's the nature of the business that we're in. I know there's great intrigue in some of the individuals within that, which it's understandable, of course, because there's fans and people want to know what's happening. But unfortunately, until the individuals decide that certain announcements take place, then it's their business. So listen, I hope you understand why I'm coming with that angle on this specific case.
And you said you regret something you said last week about a particular player. Am I right in saying that's Kieran Frawley? And can I just ask you, what was it about that, what you said that you regret?
No, about another player joining us, which I should have said, if that makes sense.
Yes, so I know which one you're talking about now.
I had seen a person outside on the grass, and yes, so it was in my mind, which I should not have said. So it wasn't my place to say that. So does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, and obviously that, listen, put that other person in a situation then that I shouldn't have put him in, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's just, again, the heat of the moment, there was lots of things rattling through our mind at that stage. But listen, it's the time of year. Listen, I hope you understand that we have to have respect for all these individuals. And listen, when things get announced, they get announced on their terms.
Just on the Sam's obviously starting at 10 this week, and there is no room for Frawley in the 23. What guided that decision? Because you spoke well about how good he was when he came on just after half time last week as well.
Yeah, and it's always a balance. Listen, we're lucky with the guys that we have there. And Sam, as you know, is a super talented young man, and we want to keep giving the guy opportunities. I think you've seen it. He's what already, even though he's 23 years of age. He's multiple Irish caps under his belt already. So it's not just us as coaches here think that the guy has unbelievable amount of potential. It's Irish coaches as well. So we all want to see him progress. So we need to keep giving him these opportunities. So it's a great opportunity from this week. He's been unlucky in terms of missing out in selection last week. So again, that freshness, it's fresh energy in the group. It's hugely important. So, but it's over now to Sam and the rest of the players that are picked this weekend. And we want to make sure we get behind them. So whatever team gets picked in any week, we get behind the group and we give them every single chance to fire and be as good as they can possibly be. So Sam gets an opportunity this week. And listen, he's played in lots of big games over the last couple of seasons. And we just want to see all our young players. And it's, listen, some days go great. Some days, listen, there's always things to work on, isn't there? But listen, we all need to get behind Sam because, listen, we see him as a huge part of the future of, listen, not just Leinster, but Irish rugby as well. And I think everyone heard, say, Andy Farrell speak during the Six Nations when Sam and Jack Crowley were fighting it out for, listen, the starting role there. And it's making sure that we continue to back our young players to bring them through because, listen, you're trying to perform at the top level of the game. So, the game, obviously, at the weekend in Bilbao, it's not an international, but it's not far off, in terms of top quality players, the pressure of the crowd, all the rest, all the different variables that are going on. Everyone wants to be the top dogs, don't they? So we're getting to that final stage, which is, listen, we got to keep getting to that point. We just need to keep banging away to try and get there again and be better the next time we're there. And that's us as a team. But then individually, listen, you see young players come through, and listen, it's tough to get yourself to that top level straight away. So you've got to. It's a bit of a rocky road at times to get there. But listen, Sam, has had a good training week this week. The fresh energy and eyes has been important for us as a team, and hopefully you'll see that in his performance at the weekend.
And is there a reason you went for Harry over Frawley on the bench, or is that just how it fell this week?
Exactly, yeah. So, listen, Harry's been very good over the course of this campaign as well. So, but yeah, listen, we think we've got a strong group across the board. Some guys drop out, a few guys, as I said, carrying bangs and knocks. Tommy O'Brien drops out, Gary Ringrose drops out, Ron Keller drops out. So, I don't think who else we got there. Jack Cowan, another one as well. And then we've tried to freshen things up by putting a few guys on the bench. So, and hopefully they will give that level of required experience later in the game as well. That, listen, hopefully we can get this job done. But as I said, listen, the Lions are a serious team. Even I know we played them a few weeks ago and the scoreline is 31-7. But listen, it was 14-7 for a huge part of that game. And even the following week, their game finished 24-17 against Munster. And listen, they had Munster keeping them pinned back their ends, keeping them in those exit cycles. So they're very effective in terms of the way they play the game. So, so it's trying to get a balance across the team always here. So it might not, listen, first look into some people. Yeah, of course, you might pick some other team. But listen, there's lots of other factors that we'll be looking at here.
Can I just check, was anyone from last weekend unavailable due to injuries, or were they all available?
No, there's a few guys unavailable, unfortunately. So listen, Gary picked up a niggle. Listen, he trained on Tuesday, but then you're trying to make assessments on guys because whatever about getting guys out to train, but there's always guys picking up bangs. Ronan Keller's another one, had an issue with his neck. A few other guys just carrying knocks. So And that's the bit where you're trying to get in freshness into the group as well for a knockout game that you have to win. So listen, it's not like we're trying to take anything for granted here. So making sure we're crystal clear on that, because this was always going to be a very difficult selection for us, coming off the back of if we'd won the game and you've got guys with bangs and knocks, if you'd lost the game, because listen, it's playoff game after playoff game. And as I said, you're making some changes, but there's lots of different factors at play. Paddy obviously is the one that was in the media that's, like, as in, he's done for the rest of the season, unfortunately, after coming back in from being out for a while. So that's not what you want to see, but unfortunately that's sometimes what happens in this game as well. So yeah, it's a little bit of case by case there, but there's guys, yes, that I think people would normally expect to see in the 23. They're not there because they're carrying bangs and knocks. Does that make sense?
Yeah, Kieran, he was available, just to be clear.
It's okay, yeah, but it's similar to other guys, but we're trying to make good choices for the group here.
And those guys who picked up injuries, are you concerned about them if you're good enough to win this weekend, or would you see them as
a little bit case by case? Yeah, a little bit case by case. Yeah, some of them will be available next week, because even we tried to get a team out early in the week, and listen, just the way we set up this week, just giving guys a bit of time as well was important, because as I said, like, I can't emphasize enough how horrific the feeling is for the group. And yeah, like we need to get through it, amazingly appreciative of the support we've had, like, which when you're appreciative of support, it means there's more people that you're thinking of at this time, because listen, everyone's team to go well, obviously, and when it doesn't go well, you have to deal with the consequences of it. And yeah, it's not easy sometimes. So everyone will go through this, as I said, like, as in grieving. Nobody's died, but that's exactly what it feels like. It's a grieving cycle. People are experiencing all the different emotions there of anger and all the rest. And yeah, listen, but at some stage we need to get to accept we can't change, unfortunately, what's happened now. And we need to move forward with a group that's hugely motivated and shows the right characteristics of what's required to win knockout games. So yeah, this is our 5th knockout game of the season now. So listen, we've had 3 successful ones into a final, which we've lost, and now we're back to a quarterfinal stage. So it's trying to get back to a point now, listen, where we have a proper push. And that's why some changes in the group as well, because listen, that it's physical and emotional freshness that's required. And against the team, listen, Lions will be throwing everything at it. They've been in Ireland now for a month, and they are well and truly acclimatised to life here. Not sure well acclimatised we were to conditions there last week. But listen, we know what's coming from them, because listen, we played against them. They've got a real good mix there, haven't they? Ivan. I was wrote in my programme notes that I voted for Ivan as coach of the year, for URC coach of the season. So that's what the coaches do, vote for the other coaches, because I think he's done an amazing job with the team there. Sorry to all the other coaches that I didn't vote for. But if you think some of the performance, that they've had this season, and they've absolutely wiped the floor with some top quality teams, particularly when they played at home. But as I said, listen, they're well acclimatised to life in Ireland now. So played against us. They were here the week before, went down to Munster for the week, and have been here ever since. So yeah, they'll be well prepared for this. And they've only had one thing on their mind, and that's the challenge for us now, because we've had something hugely significant on our mind. How do we turn our attention back to the bread and butter of URC? Because listen, we know we want to get there, and we know we want to try and go as far as we can, and listen, repeat what took place at the end of last season, where we had a great day out against the Bulls in the final, and we want to get back to another final as quickly as we possibly can.